everything that I deliver is in English, but your niche is in French. How catered do you think it was to your niche and your market and relatable to you as well?
100%. 200, I would have done it by like maybe 1 month, I think.
Mm.
So, but the thing when you start is that you need proper success because we don't have like the confidence. We're not sure like at the beginning that it is actually gonna work. You're not motivated because you don't see the results fast enough. Once you know what you need to do and you actually have to do it, that can be very hard. And I had some as I had some candidate dropouts, some candidate that failed first, and I had some candidates that like I was sure because the hiring manager loved them and they loved the company. So like I was sure that it was gonna be resulting in a placement, but it doesn't. So maybe you're doing something wrong and don't even know that you're doing something wrong. I was stuck actually. I was stuck and I was like the progress was like very slow because I had to research everything for myself. I had no proven. So the thing when you do like the research it yourself is like you're never sure does it actually work. So you have to try it. It takes time. It takes very much time. And for someone who's working 2 weeks, like you should live by yourself, like you're gonna spend months and months like researching. I was lost, like how I'm supposed to do it. I was lost, like researching how it works. How can I find candidates? How can I find clients? I was just like, and I wasn't contacting anyone, to be honest. I wasn't really talking to clients.
This is probably going to be the most insane story that you hear. This is somebody who started their business working part-time, working for another employer. Not only that, but in a location and a niche that I've never recruited in before, which is in Canada. And the market that he operates in, they speak French. All my training is delivered in English. They speak French and he made it work. This is the most insane story that I could ever possibly share. And I hope you find it relatable and enjoyable. I'll switch it over to him. Welcome, Mohammed. Great to have you on here. Just for the benefit of everybody who's listening, watching, wherever they might be. Do you mind giving a little bit of an introduction? Who you are, what you do, and your background?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Mohammed from Canada, from Quebec, Canada. So I'm an engineer by trade. I graduated 1.5 years ago. And yeah, I started my recruitment agency with your help a couple months ago. And I'm doing good there at the moment. Yeah.
Good, good. You said you graduated in engineering, but now you're in recruitment. What's going on?
So actually, I didn't fall in love with the recruitment agency at first. What I loved the most is like their online services, a B2B business model. That's the best business model for a beginner for me because you start with almost no upfront costs and then deliver service online, which means you can work from anywhere in the world. So that's the business model that I like the most. So within this little world, there is obviously like marketing agencies, recruitment agencies, and other type of agencies. So you always like you always should use your advantages. So for me, with my background in the manufacturing industry, doing like recruitment in this space makes sense. So I would say that's how I find the recruitment. So I didn't find recruitment straight away. I fell in love with the business model that recruitment operates in. Yeah.
So you graduated, you started working in engineering, you started
Yeah.
B2B business models, and then eventually found recruitment. What other business models did you explore before you settled on recruitment?
Yeah. So in 2023, I remember I bought a lot of books on business and I read a lot of books on business.
Which
So
ones?
it's spin selling, which is about. I have been investing there. I have the company of one from Paul Jarvis. Also, there are a couple. I have book on consulting. I have the So Good They Kevin Noyle. I think the pigment book. I have a couple of other ones. Expert Secrets from Paul Russell Brunson. A couple of books. So I explored a couple of business models. I even have books on import export. I read everything. I was very curious about business. That's how I discovered that for a beginner, online services, B2B is the best business model.
Did you try any other business models before this one?
No, actually, I did a lot of research to find the best one for a beginner, and I actually do recruitment B2B to the business. Yeah.
See, this is interesting because you've seen how I structure the services that I offer. I don't necessarily encourage beginners to either quit their jobs and then go into recruitment with no previous experience. And I think recruitment is beginner friendly from a business perspective, but there's a lot of expectations to be set along the way. as part of the journey. I'm saying that because I don't believe recruitment is the easiest business model out there for sure. And I think you probably agree with me now that you're where you are. Definitely not the easiest. Like you've got to want to go into it. So I'm curious, why did you want to get into recruitment of everything else that is available out there?
So honestly, I didn't know what it was, everything that you have to do. I didn't know any of it. It seemed right for me to use my past knowledge in the manufacturing industry to start a business and to start the, and I said, online service business. So to merge the two together. So recruitment in this industry makes sense for me. Obviously, when I started, I didn't know everything that was entailed the way recruitment, because recruitment is the headless skill that you have to acquire. But I have to say, this is a very useful skill because basically it's like sales skills. It's like the most important skill in business. So if you work in recruitment, you will learn some valuable skills for sure.
100%. No, I agree with you. It is a very valuable skill. I'm still curious though. Why recruitment?
Actually, I remember I found a video on YouTube. I don't remember the name of the guy, but he talked about recruitment, and at first I didn't even consider it. It was so weird because I didn't even know how recruitment works. I remember when I was looking for my first jobs, I talked to some recruiters, but I didn't even know that they can pay, if they placed someone. I didn't know how it works. But I looked into it. I started doing some research, and I saw that there's high fees. So obviously, when you see the fee that you can make, that's a high ticket. And obviously, selling high tickets is always better. You have to sell to less people, which is less of a, yeah. Recruitment from a business model standpoint, yeah, it's not easy. But for someone who don't know, that's not easy. Everything seems to be right.
So what did you, before we started talking, did you do any other kind of research into recruitment before you got going?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. When I started within the church, I already had their LinkedIn profiles with a couple hundred of connections. I already had my business built on with the government and everything. So yeah, I did some research before starting to work with you on how I'm gonna do the things. But when you have someone that already done it, it's way easier and just explain to you. Yeah.
But did you, besides getting the company set up, did you consider anything else? Did you consider a course or a program or any books? I'm just curious if you would recommend anything to anybody who might be listening.
What you mean? Or recruitment exactly? No, you're basically my first training that I. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll dive into that story, but before you found me and we started talking, was that situation like at that moment in time? I mean, you described that you had already set up your LinkedIn, you did some research, you had a few connections. What about how close were you to making your first placement? Like, where were you from a directional perspective? Just give me an overview of what that was like.
Yeah. I was actually in the paralysis by analysis based, that was just like researching how it works. How can I find candidates? How can I find clients? I was just like him, and I wasn't contacting anyone, to be honest. I wasn't really talking to clients. About to some candidates a little bit, but I wasn't talking to clients at all because I was lost, like how I'm supposed to do it. So yeah, I was just an analysis. Yeah. Before
Okay. I have one more curveball to throw in there. The content you were researching, was it in French or was it in English?
No English.
Okay. So everything that you know about business and recruitment from your research, your books, your studies, everything has been in English and you've been translating that and then applying it to your own business.
Yeah, everything that when it comes to business, my mind works in English. So yeah, everything I look up to, it's in English.
I'm gonna come back to that point a little bit later because even when we first started speaking, I'm sure you remember, I was quite nervous about it. It's like, no, I'm not sure about this. I don't speak French. I can't check everything. And I remember the conversation we had and you just said, don't worry, I will do the translation. You just tell me what to say. And you were showing me things in French. I was like, I don't know what this is. And he goes, and you were repeating it back to me, say, look, this is what it says. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And then we'll talk more about that in a moment. Was there any moment in time where you felt like, this is before we started talking, where you felt either stuck or lost and you just weren't too sure what to do?
Before I started, yeah, I was stuck actually. I was stuck and the progress was very slow because I had to research everything for myself. I had no proven. So the thing when you do the research yourself is you're never sure does it actually work? So you have to try it. It takes time. It takes very much time. And for someone who's working 2 weeks, like you should live by yourself, like you're gonna spend months and months like researching it. So it's hard when you live by yourself, especially if you're working at the same time. Yeah. So I was talking to you.
Was that, and you were still working in a full-time position while doing all of this, right? Because you
Yeah.
started this business off part-time. And another thing that I advised against doing, but you still did it anyway. Tell us about that as well. Like that transition of, so now you started this business, you were feeling a little bit lost. Then you found me. Tell me about some of the things that happened from there on.
Yeah. So when I found you, it's like now you have to learn the right way to do things. And it takes some time. Of course, it takes some time. But once you know what to do, it's just about doing it. And doing it is way harder than knowing what to do. Because we live in the age where information is everywhere. You can just go on YouTube and type things and you have information everywhere. So the lack of information is not really that big of a problem in these days. Obviously, you have to synthesize this information, which is importance of having someone that already done it. But yeah, the hard part is doing it, especially when you work a full-time job. So you have to make a lot of sacrifices. Obviously, you have to disappear, wake up early, work, go to work, go back to work again, and do it for a couple of months. I'd say at least between 2 to 6 months, I would say you have to do that. And yeah, it's not easy. A lot of people can't sustain it. But if you can sustain it, you will be glad when you will be a bit older.
What do you think about, so just say there is somebody in that position, yeah, where they don't understand recruitment, they haven't started, like you went through all the free course that I released on YouTube as well, right? How appropriate do you think that information was for you at that moment in time?
In free course, right? Yeah, the free course gives you everything you set up. So the free course, it's honestly, there's everything you need, to be honest. But when you're in the paid program, it's just like having the one-on-one presence to have the feedback loop. Because when you do it by yourself, you don't have any feedback loop. So maybe you're doing something wrong and don't even know that you're doing something wrong. So you can do it for weeks. But when you're in the group where you have the one-on-one speak, you can speak one-on-one with the mentor. Like you can say, okay, you're not on the right track, bring you on the right track. Basically, you say fine. But as for the information, everything in video printing, you don't need any much more.
Fantastic. In that moment, and this could be, I want you to describe a moment to me, like either before we started talking, maybe even both. What was like before we started talking, and then even while we were talking. Can you give me some moments where you felt this is the hardest day of my life?
Oh yeah, there was definitely days. You mean after we started talking together, or
Give me from both sides.
Yeah, so before, honestly, there was no hard disk because I wasn't even bored that much, and I was like just researching, watching videos. So the before I started working with it wasn't that hard, honestly, because I was not doing as much. But after, once you know what you have to do and you actually have to do it, that can be very hard. And I had some candidate dropouts, some candidates that failed first, and I had some candidates that like I was sure because the hiring manager loved them and they loved the company. So like I was sure that it was gonna be resulting in a placement, but it didn't actually. So yeah, and there were some hard times, of course. There were days where I like slept 5 hours, 4 hours because we were working too large and hard days. But you have to keep going.
Yeah. You're going to have those experiences. Having said what you just said, like you had some candidate dropouts and so on. If you remember the message that you shared when you said, I just did my first placement, you said it took you 70 days.
Yeah.
That's just over 2 months to get your first placement. And I believe you've sent the invoice now as well. Considering 70 days, just on reflection and the challenges and problems that you've had along the way, because you've learned things along the way as well, right? Do you think it's worth it?
Of course, when you're after it's already worth it. It's already worth it. So it's gonna be hard days, of course, but you have to do it quickly too. You can't take too much time because when you take your time too much, you're not motivated because you don't see the results fast enough. So I would actually recommend anyone that starts business, you have to sprint at the beginning. Like you have to get results as fast as possible to make sure that you're motivated. So you're gonna have to work 5 hour days at the beginning, 100%. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say, I think that varies person to person. If you don't mind me just challenging you on that, because I think in your particular case, you were working a full-time job and then getting this going, you're going to be working way more hours than somebody who's going at it full-time. And I'll challenge you on that as well and just say, if you were working at it full time, could you have got this placement done quicker? Possibly. Would you have seen some results a little bit quicker given that you've got a bit more hours? Imagine you still had the same work ethic, like you're describing 12 hours a day, but this was your full time thing. Do you think you would have done it all quicker?
Yeah, of course. 100%. 200, I would have done it by in like maybe 1 month, I think. So, but the thing when you start is that you need proper success because we don't have like the confidence. We're not sure like at the beginning that it is actually gonna work. So that's why I did it that way. But now that I have the proof of success, that you have the right niche and you're doing the things the right way. Now I have the confidence that I can go, okay, this is sustainable. Then the week you're there, you're not sure. So that's why I did it that way. And I don't think it's a bad way to do because most people, they need actually to be the reassured to have their first placement before they go full time on it.
If you were to do everything all over again up until this point, would you go about it the exact same way, or would you go at it like going full time at it?
Knowing that I know what I know now, I will go
Okay.
100%. But I didn't know what I know now at the time. So yeah.
And considering like I'm going to go into it a little bit more detail as well about our conversations and the support that you've got working with me. On reflection again, now knowing would you still have gone part-time, or has it been full-time, or was it just like, this is everything that I needed and that was it?
What did we? I didn't know that was.
So there's two things. One is you understand what you know now based on the experiences that you had, but there's also the support that you've got from me as well.
Yeah.
So now you look at the journey along the way. How different do you think that journey would have been if you just went full-time right at the beginning?
It won't be everything the same, but bigger. It will be half the time. So I would get there my first placement in half the time and the second in half the time. And so it will be the same, but no, actually it will not be the same. It will not be the same, you know why? Because I have to make more sacrifice in my life because I stopped the hobby that I have. And if I did it full time, I could take maybe Sunday off, for example. But the way I did it, I didn't take any day off and I stopped my hobbies and I stopped it. Yeah,
Are you going to slot them back up now?
yeah, 2025 is actually the year that I would start everything.
I'm excited for you and going into it. Just going back on your journey as well. How did you first come across me?
I saw your YouTube channel and I said, you just listed actually. I saw you just released a 5-hour training video. I went to watch it and I was like, wow, this is so much value for 5 hour. Amazing. Obviously, when I saw the link to the school conference, I joined and yeah, that's how I.
Fantastic. And what were your thoughts when you just described is a lot of value in that free video as well. Then you joined the school group. What were your thoughts going through that process where you were just getting through all of that information?
So I was very happy because actually, as I said, I knew some things about recruitment. I was still looking up, but this video, like it summarized everything. Like literally everything you need to know, everything is in there. 5 hours, everything, how to get candidates, how to get clients, live leads, everything digital. Even how to set up your first website. Everything is in there. So it helped me so much because I had so many thoughts everywhere, but it summarized everything into one video. So I was so happy. I think I downloaded the video. Or, yeah, I did something because, or I like took so many notes. I don't remember because I was like, oh, I'm scared that this video is gonna go away.
And they did for a little while.
I still don't know why they took it away, but too much value, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. There's a few other stories relating to that, but we'll come on to that sometime. What about as you were going through? So there was the free element, which you actioned, and I remember you keeping us updated on the actions that you were doing in the free group, and that's something that I recommend for anybody who's a complete beginner. Where I just basically wouldn't work with a beginner unless they completed all of the action steps. So a few things on your side. How catered do you think that information was to your niche? Considering like I'm based in the UK. You're in Canada, everything that I deliver is in English, your niche is in French. How catered do you think it was to your niche and your market and relatable to you as well?
Yeah, it's not a problem at all. Honestly, like if everything is in English, you just have to, if a message, for example, it's taking you give a message template in English, you just have to translate it back to French. Say, it really didn't cause me any issue. If someone thinks it's an issue, I think it's more a mindset thing. because honestly, there's no issue at all with the language barrier. And yeah, it's for every niche. It works with every niche. It's not the program is not niche specific. So if you have a qualified niche, which we can talk about what is a qualified niche, because it's the most important thing that you have to start your agency with, is that qualified niche, which works. Because if you don't have the niche that it works like every, so you can do every two, I would take this a little bit work. So here.
I'm on that one as well, on your views on what it means to have a qualified niche, because that was something that we spoke about as well. Before I come back to that, before you hired me and you started working with me on a paid basis, did you have any doubts, fears, or where you thought, is this worth it? Should I try it? Should I not try it? Was anything going through your head at that moment in time?
No, because honestly, I didn't have any doubts because the ideal of 5 hours showed me that you know everything about, plus the fact that you have this established agency that we can all Google and see. Everyone can Google your agency and see it and see that it is actually successful for real. So you just can't be like in his camera, and it's like literally impossible. You showed us in the video that you know what you're talking about. Plus, we can see the results of your agency and how much it's making. So yeah, I honestly, I want to say that way.
I'm glad you felt that way. It's this word I'm looking for. This market, especially when people are exploring like who to learn from, it takes a lot to build trust and confidence in people. Because at the end of the day, like you trusted me with the launch of your business, and I'm really happy that you felt that way. So I'm going to say this for anybody who's watching or listening: just do everything that Mohammed said. Just go through all that content, go check out everything. Everything is visible, and hopefully you can build the same level of trust and confidence as well. Was there a tipping point where you felt like, okay, that's it, I've definitely got to do this. I've definitely got to work with Mohammed?
But I remember like you in the 1st of July, I think is when you did a call with everybody. I was there with the call. I don't think there's a point like that. Once I went to the physical plus saw the video, I was like, yeah, if he has a great program that's obviously not crazy expensive, I'm gonna take it. So I knew it.
I'm with you. I have changed just so you know, the free school group. It was completely free. There was a lot of spam that was going in there, like people just going in and just spamming the hell out of it. I changed it to $1 for a year. That might change in future again, but I changed it to $1 for the year because it just eliminated all the like accounts that were going in there at the moment, in case anybody's concerned about if they see it and they think, oh, I thought it was free. So yeah, it's changed. Now that you're here, can you describe what success looks like to you?
Fruitful. I'm not looking for an amazing amount of money, but I like it too. But once I finished my degree and I started working the job, I didn't like it that much. You don't have the freedom that you want. When you're building your own business, obviously you are the freedom that you want. So what's freedom? It's obviously financial freedom, it's location freedom, and obviously you can decide what to do in your days, what kind of do it, and where we do it from. So it's just fun.
Would you say you're on track to what could be a good first few months into your business? Do you think you've nailed that already, or do you think there's still time to go?
What do you mean? For the freedom part?
Yeah.
No, I didn't nail that already because my goal is the first 6 months of 25. I went to work hard, and if I work hard the first 6 months, and even the all the year 2026, honestly, I think I would be pretty much set up because I will start hiring BAs as soon as possible. They will help me a lot. I will cut my working hours, and I will be pretty good. Yeah.
Do you have a financial target for what you want to hit in 2025?
This part between 20 a month is doable. Sure. It's doable. We talked about it actually the last day. So it's doable. For the first day, it's actually very good. So yeah, if I can hit that.
I think you can do more than that.
I mean, I know that you believe a lot in me. I do believe in myself a lot too. So yeah, if you say I can do more, then I can do. Sure.
Look, I can judge it on what you've done so far. You worked part-time and it took you 70 days for your first placement, and you've already built some momentum in terms of like your candidate pool, your client pool, and the people that you're working with and so on. It only gets quicker, better and faster once you first go at it full time, but then secondly, you continue that momentum and that energy. Because the way that you're working, I'm not sure everybody is prepared to put that level of sacrifice in, and you've given up everything to make sure that this works, and it has worked. So where are you now, would you say, in terms of what your ideal business looks like? What's left for you to do before you feel like this is everything that I wanted?
What do I like to? is to help me in the what I have the DAs, obviously the book put in show channels. So I don't know if everything is already in 2025, but the DAs for sure, that's one of my first priorities.
You'll get it done a lot quicker. I'm sure you will. It'll come to you pretty soon. Is there anything that you feel like you can do now that you weren't able to do before?
No, because I'm still in the grind. In the future, like in 2025, for sure, things are going to change.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm still on the grind. So I would say not for now, but soon enough.
I'm sure they will. And if there's something that you would describe as, okay, this was like a really big positive impact working together has had for you, what was the most impactful thing that happened while we've been working together?
The confidence 100%. You give me the confidence that the business model that I'm going for is going to work. Because when you start a business, like always, there are a lot of doubts, so many doubts. You're unsure, you're stressed because you don't know, is it going to work? Is it not? That's actually the reason why most people don't do it. They're really unsure. But now that I have so much more confidence. And I know now this is a proven business model in a proven niche. Yeah, it's just about me putting in the work and try to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you know that there's other peers amongst you even in the group who are maybe 1 or 2 steps behind where you are. What advice would you give them?
And I will actually give advice not just to them, but to everyone. So you have to copy more. Let's say you're someone who is new into business and everything. You have to copy pretty much everything. And maybe for some people that doesn't know about business, they think it's controversial to say that you have to copy it. But if you're new into business, you have no reason to think that you can create the next Facebook and everything. So you have to copy your product market fit because this is the most important things. So what does actually mean to cover the product market fit? So let's take the recruitment example. Let's say you want to recruit in New York for a particular job titles. Is there any recruiters that are successful or that recruit these job titles or this market in this city? If yes, you have proven niche, you have proven product market fit. So you have to copy the product market. You can't just go, oh, okay, I want to work to recruit, I don't know, HR for construction companies. If no one's doing it, there's probably a reason why. So you have to copy the product market fit. I think it's so important. So important. And once you copy the product market fit, you have to find a mentor to copy how to actually run the business. If you don't do that, you can do it, but it will take you so much more time. So much more time. So yeah, you should copy the product market fit. Plus you copy the how to run the business from someone who has done it. You have a recipe for success.
You can imagine there was, like, you remember joining when I first launched the program, like you were the first few people that joined in. And this is even before I had as much organization as I do right now. And you trusted me, which I really appreciate. There were other people that I was having the same conversation with, some who didn't move forward and some did. And I still respect the fact that I can understand why they wouldn't want to have worked with me at that moment in time. Now that you've completed this and there's a group of people who are maybe even still thinking whether they should or they shouldn't work with me, what advice would you give them?
So if you don't want to, it's not just Mohammed Idris, it's like any mentor. If you don't want to take a mentor and work with him, it's okay, but do you have any experience in doing this? If you don't, like, how do you expect you can know everything? How did you expect to have some proven method of working? You will just try and it will work eventually. Maybe you will quit before it works. A lot of people do. When you have a proven way, you know you are the reason it works or it don't work because this person did it that way and it worked for him. So if you do it like it, yeah, and it doesn't work, it's like your fault. So you have no excuse when you work with a mentor, and that's the place you want to be when you have no excuse.
So what would that person be? Let's say there is somebody who ends up working with me and they don't see results. What do you think has happened?
I think the first thing, obviously, I always go back to this is the proven niche. Because let's say this person does everything, they send the same message, as you say, the same voice notes, they script the leads the right way and everything. The first thing is really, do you have a proven niche, proven market? Is your market hungry for what you're selling? So that's number one. You always should look on that number one. And if this is fine and checked, then you basically, you didn't do it exactly how we said it, because obviously you have to adapt to your niche, but you have to yeah, you have to do what he says you have to do. You can't like invent stuff because this person already has done it. So you show the simple.
So there's two things I want to touch on that as well, based on what you just said. One is the niche and the qualification of it. How do you qualify the niche? Let's start there. Like, can you talk us through like how you would qualify it? Because I provided some training on qualification of the niche. How, talking about the training that I provided and from your experience, what would you say to somebody who's either thinking about starting in a new niche, then maybe they've got a recruitment business, they're looking at growing into a new niche, or somebody who's literally just starting their journey and they've already picked a niche and now they're not quite sure. And then there's another person who has got going with a particular niche, or is yet to pick one. Either way, they've still got to validate the niche, whichever start of the journey, whichever phase of the journey that they're in. So what would you say from a niche validation perspective? Like, what do they need to do?
So I think I can summarize it in one sentence. So let's stay in the recruitment. For example, I'm not going to be general to all business. I'm going to stay in recruitment. Is there a successful recruit in this location that recruits this job title for this market? So that's the one question that you have to ask yourself. If the answer is yes, then you can 100%. You have no excuses about the niche. Your niche. If the answer is no, then it doesn't mean it can't work. It just means that it's like more of a blue ocean and this is risky.
Well, what does it tell you if there's, let's say, hundreds of recruiters in that niche?
That it's very in demand. So the best is to find the balance, but if people fear competition, the virtual competition just prove that the market is alive and that is very hungry for this service. That's why there is so many competitors. So yeah, competitors are not a bad thing, they're a good thing. But yeah, maybe if there's too much competition, then it's kind of become a bad thing.
What about considering that's one way of checking if the niche is validated, which is basically if you've got competitors. It's an easy way to just go into it. There's newer and emerging niches that will come up and there's probably no competitors in that market yet. And I'm sure there will be in due course. It's just a case of, okay, this might be a brand new niche and there's other ways. And I say this a lot as well, but in most cases, you actually don't know how validated the niche is until you actually get going. Because there's plenty of markets out there where there's loads of vacancies, loads of recruiters, and all of them are struggling. You don't know until you actually get going. So question to you is, with regards to the training and support that you've received, I made a point about it earlier that's in a completely different language to what you work in. And I don't work in the same niche as you either. How tailored and adjustable do you think the advice is that I give to any given niche market? I mean, you've proven that it works in another language. So what about the niches and the specialisms? And there's a variety that people can go into. How tailored do you think it is and how adjustable do you think it is?
So the number one thing is that it's always better to work for a market that so no one understands, because when you do that, you will be able to tailor that for your market. So let's say for me, I have experience in manufacturing. So I can know how they do, what words they use and stuff like that. So I can use your research templates, for example. And okay, I think they use this word, or instead of this word, they will like it more. They will be more responsive to that. So it's honestly comes down to, do you know your market? And if you don't, you should do some research on it to understand it. And once you know it, it's your job to tailor it a little bit. But so yeah, everything that you show works. I didn't have any issue personally, so I don't see any niche where you will have an issue. You just have to do some little tweaks for your own niche. But once you know it and understand it, it will be easy to the right team.
Okay. Glad you had that experience. Is there anything, again, from an advice perspective to somebody who's watching, listening, wherever they might be, is there anything that you tell them to avoid? Like, just don't even bother with this.
But yeah, when you connect with people, don't automate messages on LinkedIn. The response rate is much higher when you do a personalized approach. And you can bulk it weekly, like use the watch to do. You think I want it, but yeah, don't spam LinkedIn messages, because recruitment at the end of the day, as we know, it's a person to person business. There's relationships involved, so you can't like just hide your face and everything. Yeah, you have to show your face. You have to talk. You have to like maybe make videos. You can't like hide behind your screen and just press on a button and everything.
Is there anything else, either tactical or practical advice that you would give to your peers in the group and anybody who is yet to start their recruitment journey or even grow their recruitment business?
I mean, you have to test the outreach methods for your markets. For example, I found that emails work worked well for my clients. But you want to test. You want to test, and once you test it, like on the outreach methods that exist, you will know which one works the best for your market, and you can like double down on it. So yeah, the beginning is a lot of testing.
Exactly. Okay. What's next for you? What did the next 6 months look like for you?
Hopefully it's gonna be good. So I want to like put time on it. Obviously, I want to still keep going hard on it. And the year once I have my ETS, I want to look at the ACE. I would like to have the ACE to help me because I'm in a situation at the moment where I know what to do, but I have a lot of work to do. And I heard it like recently at the YouTuber said it. It's like when you're in a situation where you wake up every day and you're not sure what you're supposed to do, like that's a bad place to be in. But if you know what to do every day, but you're just overwhelmed by too much work, that's a good place to be in because it means that you're going to make either gonna make the 10K a month very soon or you're already making it, basically.
That's it. Completely right. Are there any other final thoughts or comments you'd like to share, Mohammed, before we wrap up this conversation? It's been interesting because even when I search for names in the group, your first name is spelled exactly the same as mine, and then the initial of your surname is the same as well. So it's like Mohammed A is exactly the same. But any other comments or thoughts that you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, so finally, I would just say it's always better to use your money to buy time. And when you use mentorship, you're basically doing that. That's what rich people do. They use money to buy time. Poor people, they use time instead of money. So if you want to get money, you should start thinking like that and start to use your money to buy back your time. And the mentorship is like the fastest way to gain time back if you want us.
Fantastic. Well, Mohammed, I'm looking forward to continuing working with you and seeing what's yet to come in your business as well. I'm looking forward to you smashing what's left of 2024, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it next year as well. It's been a pleasure working with you as well, and I want to say this as well. When I can see a different side of the story from like your journey as things progress, and I can see that throughout the entire process, you've been fully dedicated and committed. Like every single call that you've been there with questions, and like every single conversation, you were there with a viewpoint, and you always came forward to say, "What about this?" And you were asking me questions, and it seems like that seems to be the pattern, meaning that it's not just a case of you implement what you do, but you implement it, you tweak it to your market, and then you come back with questions to say, "What about this? What about this? What about this?" And sometimes you might remember like there was 8, 9, 10 questions back to back. And you even asked me some questions before we started this call, but either way, there's always questions. And that's a good sign, because to me, that just tells me that you are really invested in making this work. And so far it's proven it. And congratulations on your success so far. And I'm looking forward to what's still to come as well.
Yeah, thank you. So I would just add something that feedback is actually like so important. Having a feedback loop, as you said, like trying something, asking question, trying something, asking question. It will make it so much faster than working and not having any feedback loop. So yeah, and thank you very much for the call. It was my pleasure.
Fantastic. All right. I'll see you again on our next call.